They're going to use that projector now. Let me go.
All right. Okay, everybody. We are live, and we're ready to go and rock and roll. Thank you, everybody, for showing up today. This is the Carlsbad Town Hall. Maybe a little small, but we're still going to get some input. We'll get some good data out of this and everything. So I appreciate y'all showing up. And as much data as we can get, even if it's a little bit, it's good data. So as usual, I actually don't run these. I allow these two ladies right here to run them. And I will step aside if there's any questions or anytime I need to interject, I will. So without further ado, go ahead, ladies.
Hi, everybody. If you don't know, I'm Tracy. Where we going? Hello, everybody.
Hello.
It's cold.
There we go. It's cold, right?
Yeah.
It's cold.
But we're out here. First, I just wanted to start by saying when we come out to these things, we don't represent one dispensary. We don't represent one entity. We are individuals that are just giving a platform and a safe space to people that, are spending their time out here to give input. So just know that you guys are in a safe space here. We don't represent any special company. We're here at our own leisure, just trying to gather data to better the industry, right? Nicole? Yeah, no problem.
Thank you guys very much for showing up and having patience with us. Honestly, familiar faces and new faces, we always appreciate that patience with us. It's coming here and being a newer part of this industry. It's kind of interesting to see that this really requires kind of a lot of groundwork coming from the heart. Driving down here, making time to come in here after work, after a long week. Even in this type of weather, so it's highly appreciated. Thank you. And the way we usually start these meetings is positives and so pros and then cons. And the reason we do these meetings is because we are formatting after the drug policy alliance. So the way they were doing it when they were doing their work back in the early 2000s was that they would go and do data collection all over the state. And essentially that's what we're doing. We have done it in Massachusetts, Solomon Park, Albuquerque, today we're doing Carlsbad, and next week we will be doing Carlsbad. And after that,
And Clovis, yeah.
And Clovis as well. The New Mexico Club right here will be doing Clovis. And that's an awesome introduction to them. They are also very involved in the advocacy side of things and policy and course grow and all of the awesome stuff. So they're super knowledgeable. We're very thankful that they have helped us out in being able to spread the meetings. We're going to have the Hops meeting, Chad, Tracy, Karina, and I. And then they will be doing the Columbus meeting on the same day because the legislative session has begun already, correct? Tuesday. It's Tuesday, so we kind of had to split it and hurry it up, and we will do it again next year. And so with that, I would like to say thank you so much for that, and thank you for attending. And so let's start with the pros. Pros of the industry, things that you think are cool, beneficial to the community, whether it's in the industry or people outside of it. And then after that, we will move on to things that be better within the industry. And after that,
If you guys have a pro before we come, let me or put it in the comments and we'll try to get it written down.
Sorry, I didn't need to hold eye contact.
But you know, if you're not able to make it, this is one of the best places for you guys to get your voices heard, even if you couldn't make it. Because I know if you couldn't make it, so I just wanted to decide.
I had a lot of doubts watching the whole medical industry have to start up in the way that I guess I had a lot of doubts about legalization, but I think everything has been great. Lots of community, it's easy to get licensing, lots of great products. Really, I've seen. I feel like Mexico's doing pretty good. So I don't know if how you word that in the show, but like as far as the industry here, the way things have been going so far, I see, compared to the other states that we've seen, like Colorado and California.
Of course, yeah, so you believe this is a trailblazer.
Yeah,
Sure.
Well, I'm kind of going off of what Darren said. I like the way New Mexico paved the way, traveling around the the country and all that. It definitely made it easier for the little guy that doesn't have deep pockets to get licensed and get in the game compared to the other states where you got to have deep pockets, at least 2 million or so in value yourself. This actually New Mexico gave us the chance for us little blue collar guys to get in on this. That's one thing. That's one of the big pros I see traveling around. Seems like the state is really open. We've got guys like Chad and you guys, everybody's helping advocate. That seems to be something the other states, some of them are lacking. So I'm liking that, how there seems to be some unity, even though our challenge in our state is we're so freaking far apart from each other. So that's one of the disadvantages we have in the cannabis industry, compared to others. We don't have big cities, but the way everybody's coming together, and I think that's pretty dope for a state like us. Another pro I think that I like seeing is the CCD that they're kicking out. They're not coming really out to shut people down. They're actually out here to help us versus other states. They actually were out there to get some money and shut you down because you weren't part of the circle. So that's one thing I'm liking that I'm seeing within my home state within this industry.
Yeah, the open market is something that a lot of the locals really admire in the state. It gives an opportunity for everybody.
And the micro growers, I think that's dope. In California, you got to be a facility. You know what I mean? And then, they trip out when they hear there's micro growers going fire and they can get their cannabis on the market, the legal market. I think that's dope right there. That's giving the little guy a chance.
Yeah.
Like putting him on attention for something bigger. You know what I mean?
And that's something we've been praised for a few times is the micros and the price of licenses. And we're not doing this whole lottery system thing. A lot of other states are kind of like, we probably should have went that route versus, going this other weird route that they're doing. So I'm glad that you guys mentioned that too. Cause we went a different route and I'm glad we went that route.
Because we're seeing it. Other people that I'm talking, networking around the country, they're almost envious of it.
Yeah.
In a sense.
100%. Yeah. Cool.
Outside of that, a fight to keep it like that too.
100%.
They're wanting to raise the rates, the fees for micro licenses.
Wave, Karina. And I'm sorry, guys. Karina didn't get to introduce herself, so I'll let her do that now. Put her on the spot.
I'm Karina Miramontes. I own a dispensary in Las Cruces. I am originally from New Mexico, but I was lucky enough to have half of my family also be from Northern California. So I am a second generation cultivator, and I'm really excited to share any knowledge and collaborate with all the people from the state. So thank you. Yeah.
Thank you for driving this car down here.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's something important, it's something important for us to have a voice because it's like all happening right now. It's like all the rules are being made and Chad and Val have their ear, which is great, and we're slow, they're slowly getting to know all of us that really, we originally met at there was a hearing in Santa Fe about raising the micro license price. We went up to testify and say, please don't do that to us. It's the only social equity part of the deal, right?
They are the voice.
Yeah, and it's
Thanks,
important.
guys.
Yeah, and then the whole clone thing,
Yeah.
they were trying to get away. They were, kind of trying to remove clones from cultivation, which was pretty ridiculous.
I'd like to recognize Karina. Thank you for being the first person to believe in us to open up your space.
Oh, yeah.
That was nice. Yeah. The first meeting.
I'd also like to mention she's not here. Val, who is the biggest reason why we're here. Val is an OG. If you guys don't know her, her name is Valerie Hubbard. She is a literal badass. If you don't know her, she was incarcerated, right? For how long?
Yeah, 2 years.
She was growing up in Rio
2 years. She
Yeah.
went to federal prison at 53 years old in 1998.
She's been in the game since 78.
Wait, since the late 50s. Since late 50s.
Yeah,
That's
she's
right.
a huge
Val's a
part of
G.
that, and, people in El Paso and all parts of New Mexico.
She pretty much helped write both the bills, the medical bill and the recreational bill.
Yeah.
So shout out to Val who could not make it today. So Val, if you're
Yes.
watching this, we love you.
Thank you, Val.
We miss you. We wish you were here. And she's the whole reason why we're here. We want to continue that.
Yeah, that was actually the one who recommended that we do the Drug Policy Alliance because that's what she was doing when her stuff was around. So that's what this is all her doing. And I
Right.
think it's awesome. She's just still at it, and now she wants to go for psilocybin as well. So there's bills in the works for that too.
Psilocybin is the
Always on
next thing for New
one.
Mexico.
She's
She's so
kicked.
And
She's
she's
so
like
good.
encouraging us to make a platform for you guys to speak up too. You know, like we all have a voice. It's all our monies that's being made and spent. You know, so we really need to be able to speak up and kind of use the voice right now because it's a crucial time to make these laws.
And it's up to us to do that, right? Because our lawmakers are going based off of tobacco and alcohol. All that. Cannabis should not be categorized under it. It's its own entity. It has its own benefits. Whereas alcohol and tobacco are completely the opposite. Those kill millions of people all the time. So it's up to us to make that a standard and put it in its own category.
And and even more, I think like Chad had mentioned like something about like they have no idea about the cannabis culture, business, and so they're like they'll listen to the Thea that says like no water, they'll listen to they'll make up the craziest things if we don't show up and like have a voice. The state is like has unfortunately a lot of right. Well, it's obviously cultural. A lot of the state is Hispanic, right? And Mexicans were targeted at the turn of the century with cannabis. So like boomers are all our parents, and that's who's in government right now, and they're like they got it heavy from their parents about marijuanos, like the rhetoric here is pretty intense, and I'm just really noticing it over like being a dispensary owner, and I'm having conversations I never imagined I would have coming from North, that we don't have in Northern California. I'm like, and it's a very interesting. Why am I forgetting the name right now? Stigma.
Stony baloney.
Stigma. Yeah, totally. It's
make them aware. One thing I was always told that you go to a festival that's serving alcohol, there's gonna be fighting, there's gonna be pissed off people at the end of the night. You go to a festival that just has marijuana, whatever you want to call it, bud, whatever, you can show up with none. You're gonna leave happy, and more likely, you're gonna leave with some.
You know what?
That's like
Not only
winning
that,
from
but
each
you're
other.
gonna leave at 9, 10 o'clock at night, not 2, 3 in the morning, and relax, eat something, you have the munchies, and then go to sleep. You're not gonna want to party and do stupid stuff.
I appreciate y'all doing this, making awareness and all that. That's dope. I'll bring the spirit of it all.
Yeah.
Maybe
Definitely.
next one, I just a little bit more.
Let's hope.
You all are here.
Yeah.
And that's important to us.
Yeah.
Even if no one showed up and we have people watching, we would still be grateful for that. We want to give opportunity to all the cities that we can possibly go to, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause not everybody can go to Santa Fe, while the session is happening. So, come and get your opinions.
Shed light on it.
Yes.
And it's like your time, kind of like everyone's time to bitch, too, on our cons. Like if you don't show up and bitch and try to make a difference, then
Facebook and Instagram doesn't do anything.
Right? Bitching doesn't do it.
Yeah.
That means you're just good with whatever happens.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And Val wanted us to also remind you guys to vote.
Right.
Vote for lawmakers that are for cannabis. It doesn't matter if it's red, blue, purple, whatever the color it is, You want to make sure that it's people that are for cannabis. For sure, 1,000%. Use your voice, vote.
Just chewing on
If
something.
you don't vote, you're part of the problem. You know?
Oh, it's pecan. Just chewing a pecan. Oh yeah.
He's trying to eat a pecan.
Cool. So how many pros do we got right
I
now?
have 3 pros here.
All right. Woo, we big
We
ballin'.
got 4 people.
All right. Yeah, you been look.
I did a lot of work in Missouri and some other states too, and then started doing a lot more work in New Mexico. And it's something where when we go in and talk to people, it's the conversation is terpenes and flavor versus THC, and it's consistent, which is the coolest thing. Because you go to a state like Missouri and you find 2 or 3 growers that are talking terps, and if you're in the right spot to make those people come up a little bit to shine a light on that, that's what a lot of people do. But a lot of people are just like, "What's your percentage?"
Yeah.
They're still indica sativa level conversations, and that's it, and that's their entire industry. So it's really cool. It's a blessing to have people in New Mexico that are talking about flavors, and terps, and living soil. I mean, things that you think are just commonplace aren't. It's scary.
I feel like it's getting better here. It can always be better, but we're moving away from percentages slowly.
And a big portion of that is education. There's lack of education, and that's something where that's commonly said in a lot of the meetings that we've had, that there needs to be more education, right? Whether you're educating your staff, your bud tenders, that's important, because if you have a bud tender that doesn't know the difference between indica and sativa, and you give a sativa to a patient that has high anxiety, you know what I'm saying?
So ruin that person's day.
Exactly.
Literally.
That's not fun. So education is key in all aspects in the industry, as well as people that are not in the industry, right? It's important for us to change that stigma and educate those people and let them know that cannabis is, I know it's like cliche to say this, but cannabis obviously is medicine, right? And we want to make sure to break away from, it's the devil's lettuce, so definitely.
I got a problem, this is just my opinion. I think it's good that we have such a young director for CCD. It's not an older person that's in their 60s up to their 80s that just has an old way of thinking. I think that's one of the things that helps us on our state. We got a young director that's kind of essentially, almost in the mindset is, or at least more open to, other ideas instead of just what's been engraved from generations before.
And that's the exciting thing, I feel like, of government right now. There's a ton. So with Las Cruces, we have our city council is half young, half older. There's a big shift in New Mexico. That's, I think, a second reason why it's so important for us to speak, is because there is that old guard of nepotism is on its way out, And
I think that's good.
I think it's great. Young people speaking up is really important.
That's what it's about, breaking cycles.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Thank you. Any more pros?
Let's move on to the cons. Short meeting. Not a Cole gets to write.
So, cons. Is there something that the CCD could do better?
Some laws that maybe could be changed that would probably improve the industry. A lot of people are talking micros need more plants. Taxes are actually due to increase next year. I feel that's something that really needs to be addressed as well. It's going to go from.
FYI, for all the small or for all the businesses, you have to pay your taxes this year, or you can't
There you go.
Re-up.
Yeah, so you can't technically you can't re-up. You're right.
If you don't renew, you can't re-up.
Right.
That's on the shirt.
Oh, that's funny. And we'll see what law. There's some laws that have been introduced already in the legislation. Nothing really crazy so far that I've seen. I did get a hand of one of the bills that hasn't been put out yet, and I'll go through it a little later. But I haven't really read it myself. Been busy. All right. So any other cons? I mean, sorry, is this cons? Yeah, cons.
It is.
I mean, if there's a moment that you can think of when you were working on getting your licensing, was there, a time where, that I'm sure you have plenty of
Oh my god.
to say.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Give some example. Where do you want to start?
Yeah.
I said mine was one of the major cons was how BioTrack pushed. That
There we
made it seem
go.
Like that had to be the go-to. It really wasn't so user-friendly.
Yep.
As that being such a big software, it should be so much more user-friendly because it's such an old software, agriculture, ag.
Yep.
That software is designed to make you fumble. I know it. Been around it. The other ones that are out there, like say their names and all that, they're great. They're more user-friendly. If we would have known that we could go to the other ones, we would have done it. It would have been way more easier and practical for us, not being in the industry so heavy and not knowing essentially the other end of it, the business end of it. That was a major obstacle, was learning that BioTrack, and then they don't get back to you too readily, and even if you pay for it, that was the other kind of city, free, pay for it. There were some guys that couldn't pay for it because they already put it all in the building because they didn't know if they were going to get approved or not. We didn't know it was going to be that easy. So they were penny pushing. That was one of the hardest obstacles, was that right there at the very beginning, is, being a little bit more open to what can and can't be used. Not necessarily making it seem like you had to use it, because at the beginning, that's all we heard was BioTrack. Then once we started going, then, there's another system. Okay, well, like us, we're already committed a year. We paid a year in, so we were going to go out. We're committed on that software because we found out if you paid, then you get a little bit of quick reaction in Florida. So that was one of the cons I had.
You get hustled from BioCheck, essentially.
Yeah, it would have been nice to know we had an option.
Right. Because it's like, who's the interest best on right there on that recommendation? You know what I mean?
And not to knock it down, BioTrack may work for you, but I don't like it. It didn't work for me.
And I like
Sprite,
that.
I like Dr. Pepper or 7-Up.
Sir. That's 100%. I agree with that.
Cool. Yeah. Every meeting we've had pretty much the same thing. BioTrack sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be if they fix it. I know they got enough technicians there because every time I call, somebody different.
How many people are paying for that?
Okay, one person. Let's make this user friendly where it's one click. It should carry over. I know that happens because I came from all the gas industry. So we reported anything on our leases, we can click in an autofill where it needs to. And these are our resources that are yours, mine, and all of us that the government's taking out. This is medicine; they can do that too. I feel like these other companies can do it.
Yep.
And they're not even as new as BioTrack. I mean, it's old. I'm sorry. These new companies are newer. Other con I would say in it is it's hard staying in compliance. It seems like stuff is changing so readily, and little guys like us that sometimes we don't have a guy that's just dedicated, or a person or woman just see what's changed. There's at least more heads up on it, or a red flag or something like, hey, this compliance did change, instead of like maybe hearing it from a friend or another dispensary owner, somebody in the industry such as the plug, or you guys are just letting us know, hey, this changed. And sometimes some of it we find out off the y'all's post that it changed. We need to look.
Right.
So we'll be doing a little bit more awareness.
So more communication between the CCD or the state,
Real-time
essentially, to the.
changes, real-time changes.
really
Okay.
fine.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you can sign up for our newsletter, the Plugs
Right.
newsletter. We're doing it monthly. I'm writing the first one right now, and I'm keeping up on all of the rule changes and all that kind of stuff.
Thank you. That's a
You don't have to be a member to get the newsletter. So
That and
On the
just
website,
following us, we're gonna try to as fast as possible, as real time as possible, like keep you guys updated with all the legislation and stuff going on. He's gonna be there the whole time, so I'll try to whip out those as fast as I can.
And we want to talk to you guys too, because we've seen y'all have offering insurance, for the little guys, and that's a big deal. You know, that's something
Yeah.
like that's awesome. You know, that's something we definitely want to sit down and talk with you guys about. You know, if that that would be a big help, especially for us little guys that want to help our people that are showing up every day, helping the community out.
That was one of the needs that we heard from a lot of people, that they're running a dispensary full time and holding down another full time job just to keep the medical benefits. Like, it's not cool. So yeah.
Yep.
Especially we're gonna, the state, all of us are gonna benefit from, the increase of revenue we're getting from the cannabis sales. One thing I did like, I saw Colorado do when they first became rec was they had such a surplus of money that they had to go back and vote of what they're getting the excess, and that state had the option of everybody get a check or put it back in the school system. And I was really proud that they chose to put it back in the school system and the kids into the system educate. I think that's something we should do with that excess money instead of roads or pulling out certain companies' pockets. Is how about we go in the next generation, invest in the schools that are not functioning. Maybe get them get them some new books, some new teachers. Use that excess funds for that. Maybe that's just an idea.
More education towards the fact too.
I agree very much. Recently, with the numbers coming out and seeing what cities are top, Sunland tends to be in one of those, and other towns or cities like that. And you look at their resources, and they're so limited for the next generation. Yet people go and they're like, our kids can't be around cannabis. Well, where are the programs for the kids after school? Where's extracurricular for them? Where is the money going?
They cut it because they don't have funds.
But then that's where the excess funds should be going, and it's to the future generations. So that's an awesome point that I have been seeing more and more.
Yeah, that's our next leadership, the next one.
I don't know if it's a pro or a con, but I'd like to see some of what we're doing, some of the money we're bringing to the state and to the economy going to a real cannabis agriculture program.
Right.
So you're actually teaching the next generation of growers and getting them involved in agriculture in this way. Because it really is still agriculture, regardless of what anybody else says it is. And then, teaching the business of cannabis at business school. This is a already multi-billion-dollar industry. The more states that fall, the more money that's going to be involved in bigger business. So, we got to start educating that way as well.
Yeah, it's not just Euphoria, right? It's a building product, ropes. It's a whole industry that was used before that we could tap in again.
Yep.
I'm with you on that.
Especially as one of the poorest states in the United States.
Especially, yes.
Yeah, exactly. It'll help sustain the industry too.
I'm with you on that.
Great, awesome, great points.
Yeah, I say they could do that for us. I've got to state the obvious. How we had that one person that cleared the road and didn't stay in office for a year and then bounced on us.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how blatant you can get, but I know if I did that in any other industry, I'll probably end up in jail.
Right.
If I cleared the way for me to get, you guys all know what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
I think that needs to be addressed. That can't happen ever again.
Yeah.
That was real. I didn't like that at all, man.
Left a little bad taste in everyone's mouth.
It did,
Yeah,
especially the people that made up, people looking out in at our state.
Yeah.
I've heard it before traveling around. Hey, did that happen? Like,
Yep.
yeah, it did happen.
The dinner, Yep. Awesome.
Did y'all have any other cons that you could think of?
I think on the licensing process, CCD needs to put a little bit more eyes on things like address verification, for example. When we were starting to travel around early on last year, I got a list of every licensee in the state and started doing some research in clothes. And I was looking at these addresses to plan our trip, and a bunch of them were just homes. There's people getting their licenses and holding them at their homes. So that's skewing the licensing numbers, and it invites just stupid shit to happen if they're actually getting a license at that place. So I think there needs to be a little bit more licensing.
Or vetting.
Or vetting.
I think they need to do more lax on the consumption too, especially on the private end and all that. We could get an alcohol license, which is known to cause death, kids death, and all that.
Yep.
I think it's silly that in Albuquerque you can't smoke outside. Like,
Yeah.
hello, like,
Yeah, force you
what?
inside
Like,
to smoke.
But you can
but
have
if you're smoking a cigarette, you gotta go outside to smoke. But if you're smoking weed, no.
Yeah, or you
Make it
have
make sense.
manufacturers burning off in the plumes. You got oil and gas with these flares. That, I mean, we left methane gas like crazy in our area. I mean, you can look it up.
Smells
And
so
it's
crazy
very
here.
documented. So,
Just drive through our t-shirt.
Right.
yeah, so, I mean, a lot of it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, all of us just got exposed.
Yeah, so we gotta kind of look at the mirror a little bit too sometimes, you know. I feel like, and it'll do so much good if we can, you know, get more together. You know, I think even if paying for a permit, that's another line of revenue that allows us to have a little consumption and all that within ourselves. You know, like if you're gonna have a show or any type of show, you go pay the city to make them aware. This is what we're gonna do. Here's whatever portion that we agreed in our city or county. There's a whole nother line of revenue that can just be for after school programs.
Everybody's gonna smoke at the show.
It's gonna happen. Yeah, it's gonna happen. And you know that they're gonna happily pay it. You know that I would.
Hell yeah.
Right.
I would. Like
Absolutely.
Cool.
And that's something we have talked about, event. Or,
Yeah, we have talked about that, and so it's something that we really want to do in the future. And you know, I really brought it up to him because I looked up what it takes to go to be a vendor at a wine festival. They just verify you have a license. I mean, that's all we have to do with the cannabis, industry is just change that law, allow it to happen, and we could do legal sales at the events. You just got to verify you have a license, and that's it. So I mean, it's a little ridiculous that they're.
And you could even go something like this, like they do in some of the shows that they do with promoters. You know, if we do legal sales, then if it's going to be at the spot, then we're going to give a percentage of the sales that happen at that time.
Yeah.
You know, like you do alcohol, like a promoter comes in, we're going to do a show, but I want 15% of alcohol sales during the show.
Yeah.
Do that for the cannabis and give it back to the community.
Yeah.
Right off the bat, give it.
And here's something that's a concern for me, and I literally thought of this Wednesday during my podcast while I was filming, and it occurred to me that we might end up with two different industries once Schedule 3 most likely happens. And here's my reason. So right now it's Schedule 1, and every state pretty much told the federal government, fuck you, we're going to do our own industry regardless of the scheduling. What's to stop the states of keeping two different industries because it's going to be too expensive for certain people to go to Schedule 3? So we might end up with a 280E industry and a Schedule 3 industry in certain states. Like here in New Mexico, I think we might be one of those because it might be too pricey for people at the beginning to convert over. And I think there might be a time period where we need that anyway to kind of get everybody transition. And I think that might just happen naturally. So what are you guys' thoughts? And I just thought about this the other day. I mean, it just occurred to me that this is most likely going to be the case. If that is the case, and it goes to Schedule 3.
State, so the
Yeah.
majority right there says you can't pay it.
Yep.
If we are a welfare state, so there's only a few that would be able to be into that. So right off the bat, that's a disadvantage for our equity.
100%. And, that would really kill every industry in almost every state instantly. Just boom. You can't get in. It's only going to be the rich guys. So you had your fun for 10 years, 13 years, that sucks.
And those
So, yeah.
guys that's been in it, the culture, that did the legwork, that family members or personally been in jail because of it. We're kind of the forefront, paving the way to just let them come in and take the credit. If that happens.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true. I did see a bill a couple of years back that somebody at a federal level was working on, and it involved the words monopoly, basically stopping monopoly from happening within cannabis. But it was interesting because why at a federal level would they be doing that? And then later on you see that there's companies that are lobbying for cannabis, right? Like banks and vaccine companies or pharmaceutical companies and things like that. So you can't help but wonder, there's definitely something going on behind the scenes that they're getting ready for. And they're already like, oh my gosh, these are going to monopolize it. Let's already try to stop it before it happens.
Yep.
I think they realize there's just so much money in this, and it can get scary to think of how all of those big funds can dislocate at a better level. I think.
Yeah, especially if the IRS already has where you can self-tax yourself on the cannabis industry, but it's not mandatory. That right there raises a flag to me.
Yeah.
You know, the IRS already has a section getting ready for something, but we can self-tax ourselves. But it's illegal, Schedule 1, but the IRS is a whole section on it. Like,
That ties into one of my cons, which is a serious lack of capital.
What's up, Jeffrey?
Whether that's loans or grants from government sources or banks even doing lending. Non-traditional lenders. We just don't have enough capital.
Cool. Yeah.
What else? Any instances, do you have anything there?
Mainly like the
You guys are really getting into the good details, to be honest. It does make sense for, you know what I mean, for a lot of shit to be like, you're gonna implement that change in what way? Because if you already kissed it,
Oh,
you don't want to create it.
Yes, I'm Jeffrey. That's what I was saying, actually.
That's literally.
You know what I mean?
Everybody was smoking.
I don't think you get that
Water,
gas station.
ice out,
You know what I'm saying?
everybody was chill. Like, wasn't anything serious. What a concert.
Let me know if you have any pros or cons.
Shots and all sorts of alcohol. You're gonna find out somebody got punched in the face.
Yep.
You know, like, girl, you know. So,
Did you hear the next day they had like the Bluey show for little kids for the morning?
and there.
High times the night before, the next day was little kids show.
Oh, that's funny. That's good.
Wow.
Did not know that.
I got one more call. I think it would be cool that I like that we could take from another state that I've seen is to help clean our roads, especially down here in the southern state. Y'all driving around, you know, we have a lot of trash on the side of the road. Is to start allowing some of the dispensaries or manufacturers, somebody start claiming roads and having a sign up, put up, clean by so-and-so dispensary, clean by so-and-so manufacturing. Just that one little sign will do so much for our land. It's like, wow, that I would love to have my little sign on the side of the road, and then I would clean up, have our crew volunteer, come
You
clean
can
up.
do that.
Yeah,
You can do it.
You can follow- you can adopt a highway,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah.
It's managed through the Department of
Yeah.
Transportation.
So when they let the cannabis industry.
Yeah.
We gotta start making awareness for that.
So,
Yeah.
the Department of Transportation, your
You have to
local
go.
district office is the one to go to. It's always the spokesperson for the district. I
Okay.
used to manage those guys all the time.
Okay.
That's a good idea, though.
It is. It's
Yeah.
free
You should do,
advertisement.
like, yeah, like a little post.
Clean our land.
Clean, and it says
Free
clean.
advertisement.
And it's
You're giving back, we'll get an advertisement.
Huh?
Isn't it
It's
a
a give
permanent
take
sign?
relationship.
I'm
Yeah.
not sure it is, right?
It's a permanent sign.
Yeah, Royals, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's-
Trail.
Yep.
I know. Them you can adopt the trail, you know what I mean? So,
Well, I mean, it's,
that's that. There again, the plug. There it is. The plug.
That's right in the plug.
well, it's a good idea. You know, for people watching too, it's a good idea. Adopt a highway. And, you know, your retail or cannabis business will pretty much have free advertisement on the highway.
Hi.
Oh!
Just for the rest.
That's funny. New Mexico would be the land of the highway. So there you go.
Tomorrow.
So
Let me ask you guys, what do you guys think about testing? Let's stir the pot.
I like it.
Yeah.
I think people should know if there's chemical, pesticide, because I want to know what's in my food when I go eat.
I think she means like the current testing that's going on in our state. You know, how well it's going. Is it accurate? Is the numbers being?
I think you want.
Does it need to be better?
But I mean, that's a very valid thing,
Right,
though.
more-
True.
more in-depth.
Well, I
True,
feel like it's
true.
mandatory pesticide. I feel like
Thank
there should
you.
be some stuff
Thank
that,
you.
that should have to be tested.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, so that's just my opinion.
I'd like to see some standardization across
Yeah.
how labs are testing.
I agree.
Like, what's the
You know, some are
procedure?
doing cultures, some are not, and it's different on how they do everything that they test, whether it's flour or concentrates or whatever. So
His face turned orange.
great because we're seeing huge variation in the same flower lots.
And then that maybe will stop some of the people throwing a couple extra dollars and people get exactly what they want. Which that's been going on for years. That's nothing new.
Yeah.
You know, that's not a new
It
problem.
happens in every
But
single
they should
state.
just
Yes,
be like,
yes.
just like in construction, like when you're building, like they give you options. You can use these screws or these screws. Like for those machines, they should give an option on like, you know, what machines that are certified.
I agree.
That way everyone gets the same results. We have now growers that they'll just go do the THC for cheap test to like 2 or 3 different labs, and then whoever gives them the higher test, then they go there
Yeah.
and you know, get all of their stuff tested.
Yeah.
Pesticides. So,
I'm hoping we can also go back to the biotrack conversation we were having, where they should have a requirement in having those COAs in there. And I know I've seen personally with biotrack, you like don't have all the accurate ones, or it could be like some random testing, or the testing can all of a sudden disappear, or the product itself can
Oh, that's
disappear,
biotrack.
stuff like that. So, but yeah, those COAs that should be readily available, because then we could educate with that and can have that available at the store. The manager should be able to tell the bartenders, oh look, this is the dominant terpenes going color black. But where's all of those results? Why are they? And also, I think Dutchy and other platforms should also require a little bit more of information to
Point of sale systems.
know that.
You as a retailer, you're the one that's responsible for downloading those COAs to BioTrack.
You just have to print them out.
Yeah.
As a farmer, you
Yeah.
have to.
But the thing is, like, there's so many little dispensaries opening up that don't do that. And
Right.
you go to like, you'll go to little towns, and there's like small low key places where you can tell like this is something's not done right here. They should just have that requirement. There should not
Like
be
a
a way
binder.
around it. There should not be a way around those things. Yeah.
Well, it technically is, but it's really hard to even get anybody to give those to you. I've had to kind of like beg for them. And my POS system has it so you can download them. You can flip the screen and you can show the guest the full COA. Yeah.
Yeah, so many more places should have those like that.
I agree. Testing's huge. I mean, it's very important. You know, this isn't just like a substance for eating. You know?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. It's a medication. You're right, 100%.
That does make sense because it helps manufacturers and production get better at what they put in and put out. So I agree with that because you can't get better without information.
Correct information.
Right.
There you go.
And I think it would help with saturation, and it would help with like the underground market, from out of state that's coming in and coming through dispensaries, because that's happened. That's definitely happening in Albuquerque.
Here's a question for everyone. There's a proposal floating around to give CCD the authority to limit production by either by decreasing plants after a recommendation from the cannabis the crack that committee that they have. So the crack can say we either have too much supply and we can decrease the plant count, or there's not enough supply and we can increase the plant count. How do you guys feel about that?
On a farmer's perspective, just thinking about that would scare the living shit out of me.
Yeah.
Only for the fact that I would grow out my grow and then be forced to shrink it on a constant basis. So that would scare me in the sense that I would be paying for my grow to get bigger and smaller due to the fact that they want to fluctuate the numbers, which I feel for whatever purpose, that it could be arbitrary numbers that they come up with, which they usually do. We know that. Which that would be my fear. But I do feel that the numbers of plants that we have right now are too high. 20,000 plants, that is ridiculous.
You can't quality control that.
No.
It's too, yeah.
Yeah.
We would need 1,000, 2,000 of duplicates of the head grower that would, you know what I mean? That's impossible. It's
Yeah.
impossible.
And that sounds a lot like the hunting tag system, which is a lottery. So they just set the low number, and then they put a low number on the lottery, and then you get a lot of people upset because it's drawn and all that kind of stuff. So it's a question of
Tag system.
if they followed alcohol with biofuel, then I think they followed the hunting tag system for that process, which scares a lot.
Yeah.
Hey, it's okay.
Now, my con would be that our taxes are raising next year, a couple of percents, and it's going to go all the way up to 18% in 2030. Now, we're at a threshold in New Mexico of what the taxes we can afford already, because we're poor. So I have a fear that if it does go up any further, that we're going to be stuck with a legacy market return, and then we're going to see more issues in our legal market because people just can't afford to buy cannabis and people can't afford to be in the cannabis industry. So what I've been proposing, actually, and let me know how you guys feel, and even Jeffrey, taxing out-of-state people at the higher rate and lowering it for New Mexicans, because a lot of our sales are coming from Texans, and to be honest, I don't think they mind paying the tax. It's a freedom tax. Yeah, exactly.
They don't care.
Yeah,
They don't get state taxed by their state. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
that's true. So I mean,
I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
I think common sense goes a long way in that right there, what you just said,
Yeah.
the plant ratio versus dispensaries. And we're not a heavily populated state by no means.
No.
And we're spread out, and then the industry that are here, you essentially can't really smoke weed, the professional level jobs, So we're depending on, like you just said, out of state.
Yeah.
And that's just going to last for so long.
Yeah.
Until it goes legal over there.
Yeah.
Then, we're going to be, what we can do then after that if we have abundance of plants.
and then we
Market's
have
going to go poof.
then federal legalization. We're going to have interstate commerce. We have to keep that in mind too. That's going to change the market night and day.
180.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to also help with saturation, but that's going to kill a lot of businesses because, they
It goes
just
almost
can't-
like microbreweries against the big
Right,
breweries,
right.
Yeah.
who can build the brand and
Yeah.
plant themselves, and
I think we see a lot more craft.
yes.
More craft. A higher quality. Well, you have the Walmart brand that we'll have.
I think it goes back
Yeah.
to what you were saying, getting ready for something and stop that off something and corner the market for people that already want another bugalo or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Just sweep it out of, how do you say it? Sweep it under our feet.
under the rug.
No, sweep us.
Oh yeah, like a kick sweep.
That's a great idea right there. I think that's
Appreciate
great.
that. Yeah,
Just like what homeboy said right here, the draw and all that. If you're coming from out of state, then you're gonna pay more for that license.
Yeah.
Than we will.
I mean, I agree with that. That would help with the out-of-state entities. I mean, we allowed those floodgates, and we're like, okay, well, what about the New Mexicans? Yeah, and
Mexico is.
And what sucks is certain cities have imposed rules that have actually hurt the locals. Like in Las Cruces, they have the 300-foot rule, but you can still be closer than 300 feet if you have a special hearing. So if you can afford the hearing and get it first, you can get the license first. So some people have been waiting almost 2 years to get their license because someone from Texas came with a bunch of money. Sorry, Texas. Came with a bunch of money, and they were able to get the licensing and everything going. And the local New Mexican has been waiting for this whole life. They grew up in the city. They either got pushed out of city limits or they had to wait.
It's a classic New Mexico pay to play.
Yeah,
And
100%.
and cyclically, you also want New Mexico money to stay in New Mexico, right? You want and so that's another thing that happens when you have a bunch of out-of-state players, and those come in all shapes or forms. But they come here, they make their money, they take their money out of state.
Yep.
We stay here, we pay our taxes, we buy our stuff in the our
we're
local.
local, we give so much back to the
Right,
community.
Right.
That would stay here. I think I agree 100% with you.
I think they should just make it a little more difficult to get a license instead of capping them, and one of them be you have to actually have lived here for the last 2 years, and your main address has to be here in the state.
Right.
Yep.
If you're going to be
Tax
on a
register.
license,
Right.
you need to be a local, you need to be here.
Because I'm not a fan myself of limiting licenses. And at the
Yeah.
beginning, I was a fan of limiting out-of-state licenses for the first 3 years. Let's allow the New Mexicans to kind of get in, then allow the out-of-state. It was proposed. It never went through.
Nope.
Yeah, actually, the bill that we have now is a Hail Mary. We are actually so lucky with the bill we got.
Yeah.
The reason why it's so loose because they didn't even think it was going to pass. Like they had no clue. And then the special session came and like, well, this is what we got, so push it through. And this is the bill we got. We got really lucky actually because it was a decent bill compared to what other states had. You know, like Illinois, they have that like lottery system and like a whole weird thing, $1 million, whatever ridiculousness. So I'm glad we didn't have that at least, you know. But there's some things that do need to change, and I'm glad we're having this conversation. Cool.
There's been some super good points that I haven't heard in prior meetings before, so this is whatever the first meeting we had in the east side of the state. So these perspectives have been very insightful, very different from the usual like I don't know what the typical one is. But these are good. Thank you.
Are there any other issues that you guys like to discuss?
Oh yeah. We got the fire going right here.
Like secret society.
Right? And now,
And now the one without the torch.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of points on here. Look at
Yeah.
that. Here, let's show everybody.
we got some good ones here.
Jeffrey, what do you think so far, man?
Hi, Jeffrey.
You did a collab with it, right? Press
We got a bunch of stuff on here.
and it's the.
Satchmo.
Oh, good. I got
There we
some.
go.
Okay. Awesome.
Was there anything else by chance?
Anything else you guys want to mention?
Yeah. It's okay because usually the bitching portion is what takes the longest.
Well, that's, yeah,
That's
usually.
like 99% of the whole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So what do you like? Yeah, that's legal. Okay, what do you not like?
Oh, well, let me pull out my list real quick.
Jeffrey, there you are.
Great. Should have brought a beanie. My ears. That's probably like the only thing.
Rob,
that's
your
it.
hands on board. We gotta do it in silver space.
I do, but it makes me like, I don't know. I'm more like,
Yeah, you.
Ah, there you go.
Nice.
Special city coming soon.
Right, heck yeah. Awesome. Well, what do you guys think, guys? Is that enough dating?
I think so.
Yeah.
I feel like it is. I don't know. Does anybody have any testimonials, maybe?
We usually try to give everybody a chance to do testimony so they can kind of add into it, I guess.
I will say this. I will say something. You know, alcohol is kind of bad and all that. You know, but they allow underage servers to. I'm speaking from as a dad to two girls. You know, state of New Mexico allow underage girls to serve the drunk men alcohol. But you got to be 21 and up to serve a medicine to a patient here. From my experience talking to my kiddos, you know, they're 180 a drunk man from a patient coming in, you know, and
Yeah.
our state allows that to happen. I mean, I think that's almost an elephant in the room.
Yeah.
That's a
My
good
opinion.
point.
For
Yeah,
sure.
that is a good point. I agree.
Great.
Because
That's as a father.
yeah, and when we were medical, you could work when you were 18, and actually the people that were in the industry when that went into effect had to get fired. Like they had no choice but to get rid of them, and like it was one of the saddest things ever. Like even if it was medical, you know, they weren't allowed to do it. So I think that's something that does need to change.
And they just take a little class, really anything.
Yeah.
They don't really learn anything of
Yeah.
it. It doesn't teach them how to address a drunk man. It doesn't teach them nothing.
Yeah.
It just basically shows them if you think they're overserved, go get somebody else that's over 21.
Go get an adult.
So, you know, that right there, that
Well,
should
and
be
it
addressed.
goes all the way back to the like being farmers stuff. We had a little one, like we can't even pass on the knowledge or anything to them until they're 21.
But
Yeah.
they go on
Right.
hops, alcohol,
Mhm.
and make
But I can say like, maybe give me a beer out of the
Yep.
fridge, you know, like or make me a margarita. Like there's nothing against them making a drink or anything, but they can't.
I think that ought to be reformed 100%. That's something that should be addressed. You know, 'cause that's the next generation. It is a medicine, and they're not dealing with drunks. Just my opinion.
And I think that's come up pretty like every meeting, like the fact that, you know,
Like I said, we had people out working on our farm that were certified. They went through a whole class to learn how to grow weed and stuff, but yet never touched the plant before.
Yo,
Like,
yeah, I've
really?
seen a bunch
Like,
of
you
those
have this
seminars and shit
certification,
like
but
that.
you've never like seen a garden.
Yeah. It's like,
Kind of weird.
theoretically, this is what I know. It's like, do you have actually applied knowledge to it? Because
Right. Like
you're
they had to
scaring me.
teach them, like, on tomato plants or some other plant.
Right. I agree with that.
I'm with you on
Bullshit.
that. They should change that. You know, that could be the next.
And we
No
even
telling
went
what
to
the-
CNM and offered to like, you guys can use our farm and bring the students out and stuff, but they won't touch it because they don't want to lose their federal funding. No. Like they offered him a job to teach a class, but you can't go out to a farm.
That's crazy.
No hands on.
Not even hemp
Yep.
either, I think, right?
What's that?
Not even hemp either, right?
Well, they have been loosening up on it a little bit more now
Yeah.
since the farm bill.
I was gonna say, since it's federally legal now. Awesome.
I'm just saying that as a parent, guys. As she
Yeah.
said, it's
No,
everywhere.
that's-
That seems like that's some should change then. If
Yeah.
it's all corners of our state, you know, and it's the parents and us adults saying that should change, then maybe our leaders should listen.
Yeah, stop trying to parent force. You know, I agree.
Especially alcohol. Look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
how
It
much-
should be the other way around.
Yeah, they're kind of ass back because, like,
like dare, but dare to keep kids off alcohol.
right.
Oh.
Nice.
Thank you for your input. We appreciate that. Anyone else?
We'll wrap it up.
Well, we really appreciate you guys coming out. We appreciate everybody that's tuned in. We're really excited to gather all this information. We've got a lot of good stuff. Even though it's a small group, as you can see, that list is pretty long. And your opinions matter, guys. All this, it doesn't go wasted. All of this goes for the better of our community, and that's the Carlsbad community. It's up to us to make those changes. And hopefully we can do that together. And you guys are already taking the right step by being here. So thank you guys. Thank you.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, thank you everybody for showing up. And next week we'll be in Hobbs and Clovis. So if y'all can attend, that'd be cool. But if not, you know, I'm glad we're able to be here. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody, tuning in.
All right. Thank you all for watching. It was a small one, but yeah, we'll see where this data goes. Later.